Well, our boys finally made it to Peaceful Valley, Missouri, and found it to be a lovely town, particularly with a public square all decorated like this.
There's just one thing that bothers me, Bullwinkle.
You're lucky I got dozens.
Where's all the people?
Hey, that's right.
Oh, if Bullwinkle had only known.
What do you think, Caleb? Be they Floys or bean't they Floys?
Well, my feuding guide don't list no Floys with antlers, but we better not take chances.
You mean we plug 'em anyways?
You bet.
What if we're wrong?
We can always apologize.
Caleb, you ought to be with the United Nations.
Who's feuding with them?
Seems like they're near everybody.
And meanwhile, on the other side of the square...
Speak up, Ephraim. Be they hatfuls or bean't they hatfuls?
Well, that there biggin looks like a hat rack.
That's close enough. Ready, aim.
Of course, our heroes were blissfully unaware of the danger that threatened them until the sharp-eyed squirrel suddenly remarked...
Bullwinkle, these decorations aren't for the Bam-Bams at all.
They're not.
No, sir. They're commemorating the 150th anniversary of the feud.
The feud?
You know, it's like a war between families.
In Minnesota, we call that in-law trouble.
No, look here. In memory of 150 years of bloodshed. Happy anniversary.
Who's feuding?
Says here it's the Hatfuls against the Floys.
Here's kind of a cute one, Rock. There's no feud like an old feud.
But our friends wouldn't have been so carefree if they had known that Peaceful Valley was in reality a kind of no-man's land in the most ferocious feud ever fought.
Try fit.
Yes, ever fit.
While we're waiting, I'll take your picture, Bullwinkle.
Okay, how's this pose?
Great. Wait till I set the lens opening.
Well, hurry up and shoot. I can't hold this all day.
Let's see. F8 at 100th, or is it 150th?
Come on, shoot.
What?
I said shoot, shoot. Now, that's what I call service.
Bullwinkle, we're right in the middle of the feud.
And what's more...
What's more?
I didn't get my picture took.
We gotta get out of town, Bullwinkle.
But we just got here.
Yeah, but if we stay here much longer, we're gonna stay here much longer.
I guess you're right.
And our boys crawled under a hail of lead toward the outskirts of town.
Right at it, Caleb. Can't you hit 'em?
Nope, them fellers must have charmed lives.
You think they was TV heroes.
But just then, a messenger ran in.
Hey, Pa,
Speak up, Clive. Don't mumble.
the Floys is shooting at them fellers, too.
Well, then they must be on our side. Hold your fire.
And at the same time, on the other side of the square...
Hey, Ephraim, the hatfuls are shooting at those fellers, too.
Then they must be on our side. Stop shooting!
And so a deathly hush suddenly fell over Peaceful Valley.
Couldn't you make it some other kind of hush?
Now's our chance, Bullwinkle. We gotta make a dash for safety.
And there it is now, Rock. The city limit.
Careful, Bullwinkle. It may be a trap.
A trap?
Somebody may be hiding behind that sign.
Nonsense. Who could hide behind that itty-bitty sign?
We could!
It's the Hatful.
Didn't I see you fellers stuffed in a telephone booth one time?
They're not on our side, Pa. Look at it. They ain't got no beards.
But I'm growing a beard.
When did you start?
Just a minute ago.
How about you?
I'm a little young.
Too bad we're feuding with the youngs, too. Take 'em away, Caleb.
Where to?
Where else? Take 'em to Devil Dan Hatful himself.
Oh, not Devil Dan.
Couldn't we be easy on them and shoot him right here?
Be with us next time when we'll see Devil Dan Thinks It Over or Feud for Thought.
And if you happen to have a beard handy, send it in.
Once upon a time in a faraway kingdom there lived a little princess. Her father was a king, because that's how those things are. He loved his little princess, and so did all the people of the kingdom.
Huzzah for the little princess!
Huzzah?
Well, that's fairy tale for hooray!
Oh.
The little princess was very happy, and small wonder. She had everything and anything she wanted. Beautiful little jewels to wear, a lovely little garden to play in, a little mechanical horse to ride, even her own little castle to live in. All went well until one awful day when the princess began to grow. She grew And she grew and she grew. The people of the kingdom were greatly disturbed.
What's all the fuss?
The little princess has grown.
So? All princesses grow.
Like that?
Oh.
The king was very upset.
My little girl's all grown up.
But he made the best of it.
Nothing will change. You're still my little girl. You'll have everything just as before.
So the king summoned the royal jeweler and ordered him to make some special jewelry. It was huge. He commanded the royal gardener to grow some special flowers. They were enormous. He ordered the royal engineer to make a special mechanical horse. It was tremendous. He even told the royal architect to build a special castle right next to his own. After all that, you'd think everything would be fine. But no.
No? No, Your Highness. We're broke.
Broke?
Shattered. There's not a pazooza left in the treasury. Jewelry, garden, horse, castle, in that order. They all add up to broke.
Well, what do you suggest? To get some pazoozas.
What else? Taxes.
And so the people of the kingdom were taxed and taxed and taxed. There was a tax on fences.
100 pickets, 100 pazoozas.
There was a tax on trash.
3 cans, 3 pazoozas.
On doors.
1 door, 1 paz. 2 doors, 2 pazoozas.
There was even a tax on smoke.
7 puffs.
I know, 7 pazoozas.
And a tax on children.
8, 9, 10, 10 and a half pazoozas.
As a result of the taxes, the people of the kingdom became angry. And you know who they blamed?
It's her fault.
Look at those jewels. Rocks from the mountains would have done.
Look at that horse. It must have cost 1,000,000 pazoozas a day to run that thing.
Small wonder we got high taxes.
Yeah, small wonder.
Why don't you get a job?
Yeah, you're big enough now.
Upon hearing this ridicule from the people who had once loved her, the princess became very sad.
Look at that.
We'll be flooded out.
You mark my word, next year we're going to have a tax on umbrellas.
In his castle nearby, the king was feeling very worried and sad and wet.
You know, she isn't the same happy princess.
So he summoned his royal cabinet for advice. The royal accountant, the royal lawyer, the royal writer, the royal efficiency expert, each of them gave their advice.
More taxes.
Tougher laws.
More publicity.
Get rid of her.
Get rid of her? But how?
Marry her off.
Brilliant! I shall give a golden slipper to the suitor who wins my daughter's hand.
A golden slipper? Isn't that rather a small prize?
If it's one of her slippers, it's big enough.
So a proclamation was made throughout the kingdom, and one by one the suitors arrived at the castle to ask for the princess' hand. When they actually saw it, though, they soon changed their minds. The princess became sadder and sadder.
King, you gotta do something. She'll wash out the crops.
So the king began to send the princess for long walks in the woods. One day, on one of her walks, she met a strange little man.
Hello, strange little man.
Hiya, Princess.
Aren't you going to run away because I'm so big?
Of course not. Aren't you going to laugh because I'm so funny looking?
Of course not.
So they quickly became friends. Every day they would talk together about all kinds of things. They would laugh together. They even took long walks together. Then one day the princess said,
Perhaps you're an enchanted prince. Maybe if I kissed you, you would grow as big as I am.
Well, what do we got to lose?
So the princess kissed the funny-looking little man. He didn't change a bit.
I guess I'm, just not the enchanted type.
Ah, but something began to happen to the princess. She grew smaller and smaller and smaller until she was even smaller than the strange little man.
Oh, this is just the right size to be.
So the funny little man won the princess' hand, which was just the right size now. And he lived happily ever after, and she lived happily ever after, and the king lived happily ever after.
But what about the taxes?
Yeah, what about the taxes?
Oh, don't be silly. We can't have everybody living happily ever after.
time, you remember, our heroes found themselves in the middle of an old Missouri feud between the Hatfuls and the Floyds. They were shot at by both sides, and when they tried to get out of town, were captured by a gang of Hatfuls.
A hatful of hatfuls, you might say.
If you were in a joking mood.
Which we aren't.
Now they are being taken before the leader of the Hatful clan, Devil Dan Hatful himself.
Or you can take the easy way out and jump off in this here cliff.
I think we'll see Mr. Dan instead.
I was just trying to be helpful.
Anything I don't trust, it's a helpful, hostile hatful.
I'm glad you said that.
Why?
I couldn't have.
Where is this Devil Dan?
Right through this here doorway.
Sure enough, on the other side of the door, Devil Dan Hatful was... Say, you're not Devil Dan, you're...
Consign ye, you varmin, don't be for sneaking up on me deady ways.
But you're really...
Really who, Flatlander?
Really, Devil Dan! Devil Dan!
You better believe it, buddy. Who be that?
It be Caleb, Devil Dan. I be bringing a couple of strangers.
Who be ye, breeby, he, oh boy, this cornpone dialect is tough. Who be ye bringing?
A moose and a squirrel.
Moose and squirrel? Well, come in.
And our heroes entered the shack to find themselves staring straight at the barrel of a long rifle.
And what's worse, it's staring back.
Are you Devil Dan?
Couldn't you tell by the beard?
Yeah, that's a real ugly mess of chin spinach, all right.
Yeah, but that voice, I could swear.
Better not, Rock.
Well, it's been nice meeting you. Goodbye now.
Goodbye? You mean you're going to stand us up against a wall outside and blast us?
Of course not.
No.
I stand you against wall inside and blast you.
Well, that's more like it.
You're really going to do it?
Of course, his old mountain custom, you know. On top of old Smoky, all covered with curls, I'm shooting with rifles at mooses and squirrels, with a 1 and a 2 and a... Oh, fish page, the telephone machine. Devil Dan Hatful, the mountain troubadour.
I want to speak to that nincompoop, Boris Badenoff.
Nincompoop? Who is this?
Fearless leader. Who's this?
Nincompoop.
Have you made contact with Moose and Squirrel yet?
No, but I'm just about to.
Remember, Badenoff, they must be kept safe and sound until I arrive.
Till you arrive?
Jawohl. You didn't think I'd let you handle anything this big alone, did you?
You mean I got to treat them, you'll pardon the expression, nice?
Correct.
And so when Boris turned to our heroes again...
Okay, Mr. Hatful. We're ready.
Never mind the blindfold. I'm nearsighted anyways.
Todd and dink my naps. Couldn't you fellas take a little mountain-type joke?
Joke?
Sure. See, the gun isn't even loaded. Now.
And while our heroes ponder the sudden change in Devil Dan Hatful, many thousands of miles away, a sinister black missile is being raised to its launching pad.
Beginning countdown. 30 seconds.
Are you sure you want to make this trip, fearless leader?
Of course, Professor. We mustn't leave Badenoff alone a minute longer than we have to.
Very well, but I didn't think you...
You aren't supposed to think, Professor. Just get this thing off the ground, or else.
Yes, fearless leader.
4, 3, 2, 1...
And with a roar, the sleek black missile zoomed upward. Its destination, a Rocky and Bullwinkle. Don't miss our next exciting episode, Calling Fearless Leader, or Whistle for the Missile.
Today we will have a demonstration on how to sell Bullwinkle and Rocky Fan Club cookies.
But we don't have any cookies, Bullwinkle.
Hadn't thought of that. Anybody have any suggestions as to where we could get some cookies?
We could steal them from the Girl Scouts.
What a depraved, monstrous idea.
Stop it, you're turning my head.
How about you, Natasha? Could you make some Toll House cookies or something?
I could make some jailhouse cookies.
Jailhouse cookies?
Sure, they got tiny little files in them.
Any other ideas?
Well, one of us could join the Navy. Someone would be sure to send him cookies sooner or later.
But Captain Peach Fuzz, you are in the Navy.
Oh, yes, I am, aren't I?
Does anyone ever send you cookies?
As a matter of fact, everybody sends me cookies, and I'm getting tired of it.
Then we're in business. Now I'll show you some first-class cookie selling. Good day, madam. I'm from the Bullwinkle and Rocky Fan Club, and we're selling these tasty, delicious cookies to raise money.
To raise money for what?
Well, that depends on how much we raise. Gotta polish up my sales pitch a bit.
Let me try. Good day, madam. I'm from the Bullwinkle and Rocky Fan Club, and we're selling these lousy, stale cookies to raise money.
For what?
For hospital. What else?
A hospital? Who for?
For people who eat our cookies.
Well, why didn't you say so? I just love lousy, stale cookies. Here.
Boris, you are dishonest, crooked, shifty, deceitful, underhanded, and loathsome.
You left out vile.
You're vile.
Well, don't just stand there. Give me a merit badge.
Hello again, Peabody and Sherman here, but not for long. We are just about to leave for Cambridge, England.
And what's the year, Mr. Peabody?
1686, Sherman, where we shall meet that eminent mathematician and experimental philosopher, the man who proved the law of gravity with the falling of a falling apple, Sir Isaac Newton. The Wayback Machine responded beautifully, depositing Sherman and me at the base of an English apple tree. Sure enough, there was Sir Isaac Newton.
I'm ruined. It's the end of everything for me.
Something wrong, Mr. Newton?
Yes, it's my theory on gravity. It won't work.
Of course it will. You simply take an apple from the tree, toss it into the air, and it will fall.
Would you care to wager?
By the tone of his voice, I knew he had attempted what I had just prescribed, but I insisted he try again.
Very well. I have the apple, correct?
Correct.
I toss it in the air thusly, correct?
Correct. And now it'll fall to the ground, correct?
Incorrect. Oh.
Strange as it sounds, the apple remained in midair.
But that's impossible. Whatever goes up must come down. Everybody knows that.
Quite. You know it, and I know it, but those ruddy apples don't seem to know it.
I assure you there is a plausible explanation for everything. Observe. Plucking the apple from the air, I neatly sliced it open to examine the interior. Just as I suspected. A rare species of fluttering fruit fly.
I'm afraid it's become quite clear that I shall never be able to prove the law of gravity with a falling apple if those apples won't fall.
May I suggest you simply find another source of apples?
I said, champion idea. Why didn't I think of it?
Going into town, we managed to locate the local fruit peddler.
One apple, please.
Hey, how about a nice banana?
No, thank you. An apple, please.
Maybe you like a good mushmelon.
What have you got against apples?
Nothing, except I don't got no apples.
Well, why didn't you say so?
You didn't ask me.
All right, then give me a banana. I guess it'll fall as well as a blooming apple will.
Gosh, he can't do that. History will be all wrong if he proves the law of gravity with a banana.
Don't worry, Sherman. If he tosses the banana into the air from where he is standing, I am certain it will not come down.
I hereby prove that what goes up must come down by tossing this banana into the air. Oh, Jove, it didn't come down. Don't tell me I've proved there is no gravity.
No, Sir Isaac, only that monkeys like bananas.
Good heavens, it is a monkey.
Fate seemed to be working against Sir Isaac, and needless to say, he was becoming quite discouraged.
It's no use, gentlemen. There's simply no place else to find an apple.
You're mistaken, Sir Isaac. I am certain that you can obtain an apple right across the street.
The schoolhouse, of course. There's always an apple for the teacher in a schoolhouse.
Sir Isaac dashed into PS32 and explained his plight to the teacher, who, of course, was only too happy to give him her apple for such a worthy cause. With success in sight, Newton happily ran from the school, only to have misfortune overtake him once more. The apple rolled from his hand with such force that it rolled for 2 blocks and directly into the Cambridge polo grounds, where it was quite naturally mistaken for the ball by one of the players. The apple was driven through the goalposts for the winning point, I might add, hit a spectator squarely on the head, flew high into the air where it came to rest, of all places, on top of a very high flagpole.
That did it. This is one of those things you just can't fight.
Oh, one moment, sir. I feel that at last you can prove your law of gravity with no further ado.
Not with that apple, I can't. I could never climb way up there to get it.
You don't have to. Taking Sir Isaac, I quickly positioned him directly beneath that flagpole. Then a glance at my watch told me my timing was perfect.
But I don't understand. How can...
Hold perfectly still, sir. You will know in exactly 4 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1, now. As usual, my calculations were absolutely accurate. On the nearby Tower of London, the sunset gun was fired. That slight vibration shook the apple from its perch, and it fell, hitting Sir Isaac so that he was certain to notice, so that at last he was able to prove his theory.
Boy, sometimes it's sure hard for famous people to get famous.
That's right, Sherman. Isaac Newton's brother Figby had his troubles before he became famous, too.
Isaac Newton's brother Figby? What's he famous for?
Oh, he invented a cookie.
Oh, Mr. Peabody, you don't mean...
I certainly do. Figby Newton was the inventor of the Fig Newton.
Well, our heroes are all tangled up in another plot. This one has to do with a feud between the Hatfuls and the Floyds. They've been captured by the leader of one of the clans, Devil Dan Hatful,
who looks remarkably like Boris Bedenoff.
The disguised Boris got a shock when a telephone call from Fearless Leader told him to keep our heroes safe and sound until he arrived. That's why we find the boys having lunch with their worst enemy.
Have some more chicken. Plenty more where that came from.
Yeah, where'd it come from?
From an egg.
No, from neighbor's chicken coop.
But a few thousand miles away from this love feast, Fearless Leader was preparing to make the trip to Peaceful Valley in the fastest way possible by rocket.
We mustn't leave Badenoff in charge too long. Fire one.
But, Fearless Leader, I think...
Don't think, just do what I tell you.
Well, you're the boss.
You're so right.
And in a moment, the sleek black missile was zooming skyward.
Professor, it was a successful shot. Perfect. He's in orbit right now.
In orbit? But that means he can't get down.
It was true. The missile had gone into orbit and was circling the Earth at tremendous speed.
Professor, what were you thinking of?
Nothing. Fearless Leader told me not to.
Come along.
But I obeyed orders of Fearless Leader.
Congratulations. You will be the most loyal Pennsylvanian we ever executed.
But let's draw the curtain on this painful scene and return to Peaceful Valley, where Devil Dan is growing impatient.
Also, Whiskers.
If you'll excuse me a second, I got to go slap the hogs.
Gee, he's a peach.
I think he's a double-crossing crooked killer.
Yeah, but for a double-crossing crooked killer, he's a peach.
Meanwhile, in the other room...
Boris, why you're beating your head against the wall?
I'm not used to being nice to people. I got to hurt somebody.
But why yourself?
I was handy.
But at that moment, Boris heard a familiar voice.
Let me down from this contraption, or I'll have the head of every man, woman, and child in the country.
Natasha, did you hear what I heard?
I hope not.
Bullwinkle, did you see what I saw?
No, my antlers don't fit through the window.
Come on outside, Bullwinkle. Here it comes again.
Yes, the missile containing Fearless Leader was orbiting over Peaceful Valley every few minutes.
Down from here, it will roll from border to border and coast to coast, and yours is going to be among the first.
Bullwinkle, that's an orbiting satellite.
Looks more like a fella in a rocket.
It was, and he's stuck up there. He'll keep going on forever.
Well, maybe he likes to travel.
Yeah, but he may starve up there.
Well, that's different. Let's get a big cannon.
You're not going to shoot him down.
Nope, I'm going to shoot a chicken leg up to him.
What?
Sort of a guided drumstick.
Well, I got a better idea.
You usually do.
I'm going to fly up there and stop that missile.
That's a better idea.
Just a short distance away, in a cold, clammy duck blind...
Hush, something's coming over now, Clem.
I'll shoot it, Harlow.
Sure don't look much like a duck.
What do you mean?
Ain't got no wings, got no feathers, and it's 50 feet long.
But on t'other hand...
What?
It's the first thing that's flew over today.
You're right, Clem.
Oh, Vera, you clumsy fools! I'll have you drawn and quartered.
You know something, Clem?
What's that, Harlow?
Didn't sound like a duck, neither.
Meanwhile, back at the shack...
Ready, Bullwinkle?
As ever.
Ellie!
Oop!
And the plucky squirrel hurtled high into the air just as the missile came into view once again. But Fearless Leader, thinking Rocky was an American anti-missile missile, began to unlimber a fearsome weapon.
Jawohl, this is my anti-missile.
Oh, boy, watch next time for Rocky Takes the High Road or Missile in the Thistle.